Welcome to the Devon Effect. Real talk, good vibes, and no BS. Just me, you, and whatever's on my mind. Let's get into it. This week, I woke up feeling restless, like I was stuck on repeat, and nothing was stirring my soul. I decided it was time for a change, a little shake-up to break the monotony. Rather than staying home and scrolling endlessly, I booked myself an adventure. A solo trip to a new offbeat lounge downtown that I'd never set foot in before. Now, I'm not one to venture out on my own for social reasons. Sure, I've been known to grab a midday coffee by myself when there's nothing else to do, but this was different. I was determined to dive into an environment buzzing with life, to mingle with strangers and see what connections might spark. I arrived at the lounge, a dimly lit, eclectic space with mismatched furniture, vintage records spinning in the background, and an energy that promised the unexpected. At first, I felt the weight of being the lone wolf in a sea of chattering groups. There I was, a 24-year-old guy without a posse, scanning the room with equal parts excitement and trepidation. I ordered a drink, a cocktail that was as unusual as the venue itself, and took a seat near the bar, watching the crowd in quiet curiosity. I wasn't there to impress anyone or to chase romantic sparks. My aim was simple, to make genuine connections and soak in the vibrant atmosphere. As the night unfolded, the lounge began to loosen up. A local band took the stage, playing a mix of soulful covers and original jams that perfectly complemented the intimate vibe of the place. With each song, the room's energy grew, and I found myself emboldened by the mellow buzz of the crowd and a couple more sips of my drink. I started striking up conversations, tentatively at first, with a couple of different groups. My first attempt was with a trio of women who were laughing over shared memories. I introduced myself casually, mentioning that I was new in town and looking to meet interesting people. Their initial smiles were warm, but within minutes, one of them mentioned that they were already in a committed relationship. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of disappointment rejection stings, no matter how trivial it might seem. Still, I didn't let it break my stride. I thanked them, smiled, and moved on, reminding myself that every no was just another step toward finding a genuine connection. Next, I approached a small group of guys hanging by a pool table. I tried to join their conversation, offering to learn a round of pool in exchange for some pointers. They welcomed me with friendly banter, and for a moment, I felt like part of the crew. However, as the night deepened and the jokes got a bit too rowdy, I realized that my interests were diverging from theirs. I found myself laughing along, but also feeling the gentle push of not quite belonging. It was a subtle kind of rejection, the realization that not every group was the right fit for me. Then came another encounter that really made me pause. I found myself drawn to a quiet corner where a few regulars were discussing everything from music to personal dreams. I chimed in, eager to share a story of my own. A recent misadventure on a hiking trail that ended with me getting hopelessly lost and rescued by a kind stranger. As I spoke, I noticed a shift in the conversation. They were polite, nodding, but the connection wasn't sparking. It felt like I was reciting a practiced monologue rather than engaging in a real dialogue. I wrapped up my story feeling the familiar sting of rejection, yet oddly grateful for the experience. It's funny though, each of those moments, though tinged with rejection, also came with a hidden lesson. I realized that every no wasn't a personal failure, but rather a nudge, guiding me to understand what works and what doesn't when it comes to building connections. Much like in my favorite video game, Minecraft, where you might wander the pixelated world, mining for elusive resources, sometimes you hit a vein of disappointment before you stumble upon a rare diamond. In my case, the rejections were the rough stones that, when chipped away, revealed what I truly valued in a conversation. By the time the night was winding down, I'd met someone who changed the whole equation. In a brief yet memorable encounter, I struck up a conversation with a guy who had a knack for storytelling and a genuine curiosity about life. We ended up talking for what felt like hours about everything from the quirks of our hometown to our shared love of indie music. I even played the role of an impromptu wingman when he mentioned a funny mishap with a mutual friend. And he laughed so hard he nearly spilled his drink. It wasn't just that we exchanged pleasantries. We forged a connection that felt authentic and promising. I left the lounge that night with a new friend and a heart a little lighter, reminded that sometimes putting yourself out there can yield unexpected treasures. Reflecting on the evening later, I realized that each awkward moment, every polite dismissal, was like a mini quest. Just as a gamer might fail a level several times before finally deciphering the puzzle, I was learning to navigate the social labyrinth one interaction at a time. Sure, the sting of rejection was real, like missing out on that final win or that perfect loot drop, but it was also an essential part of the process. With each setback, I was sharpening my social skills, becoming less afraid of stepping out of my comfort zone, and even starting to enjoy the journey of self-improvement. I even began to see the humor in my own efforts. It's almost like when you're playing a game and you keep missing the secret door. Eventually, you start laughing at yourself, knowing that every missed attempt is just another chance to try a new strategy. Maybe next time I'll approach conversations differently. Less rehearsed, more spontaneous. But for now, I'm just glad that I took that leap. The night taught me that even if you're the odd one out, the lone wanderer in a room full of chatter, your willingness to try can lead to moments of genuine connection, personal growth, and yes, even unexpected friendship. So here's the takeaway. Don't let the fear of rejection hold you back. Each time you step into the unknown, whether it's a quirky lounge, a busy coffee shop, or even an online community, you're adding another chapter to your own story. You might not always hit the mark, and sometimes you'll get a polite no or an awkward silence, but that's just part of the adventure. In the end, every experience, every misstep makes you a little more resilient and a lot more interesting. Now, as I plan my next outing, perhaps teaming up with my new friend or trying a different scene, I'm carrying with me the lessons of that night. The rejections were not failures, but milestones in my journey of becoming more comfortable in my own skin. And much like a gamer collecting the last few elusive items to unlock a final level, I'm learning that persistence is key. I may need to knock on many more doors before I find the right one, but with every attempt, I'm one step closer to a richer, more fulfilling life. So, if you're sitting on the sidelines, wondering if you should take that leap, my advice is, go for it. Embrace the awkwardness. Learn from the setbacks, and remember that every rejection is just a stepping stone to something better. Whether it's making a new friend, discovering a hidden gem of a place, or even just proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought, every experience counts. Keep pushing, keep exploring, and before you know it, you might just find that rare diamond moment waiting for you around the corner. Good luck out there, and don't be afraid to venture into the unknown. Sometimes the best parts of life are hidden in the moments you almost skipped over.